A big mabuhay around the world and good morning, America. I always wanted to say that live from the Philippines. Um, just wanted to shoot that out there. Good morning, America. I mean, it's still kind of a famous show in America, but good morning, Philippines. Good morning, America. It doesn't really matter, right? Just wanted to give a quick shout out there or some quick advice. I don't know if people are still interested. I know this is kind of a debate about whether you should meet a province or city girl, right? So I know everyone has sort of their preference and some don't. I'm one of those that really didn't have a preference. I really didn't think about it that much. I was more kind of looking for other requirements that didn't really matter if they were from the province or the city. But you'll see in Filipino culture, you'll see the people from the provinces will say, city girls are not as honest, perhaps, or as wholesome, I should say, as the province girls. And in many ways, this sort of takes on the same sort of debate that happened in America, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 years ago. I don't know if it still even happens today, but, sort of the farm girl or country girl versus the city girl. And in America, we had sort of this idea that, city girls are sort of, maybe not as honest. They have to sort of hustle and, to get their way through and things of that nature. And that, the country girl is going to be more wholesome and pure and also healthier than the city girl. I don't know if that's really, we have that kind of, we used to have that idea in America. But, in the Philippines, you still have that kind of debate going on. But you also have it going on between the provinces, whether you're going to Ilocos Norte or going to Cebu or you're going down to Mindanao and those in the Visayas and those kind of areas. Where's the person going to be kind of picking that, the girl that they want? It seems lately that a lot of people are going into the southern Philippines, which to me is kind of a new phenomenon. I know people were going into Cebu, and Cebu has been sort of sort of the second city of the Philippines, I would call it, compared to Manila. But it seems a lot of people are going down into the Mindanao area, which a lot of people have been afraid previously to go down there. But there's, I guess, more American military are going down there, more people going down there to retire. And of course, you also have Cebu. But, those areas seem to be kind of the hotspots now for expats or people moving to the Philippines. And Manila or Luzon is kind of losing a little bit. I know that Angeles City is still popular among the ex-military guys. But it seems like Manila's kind of losing a little bit of its attraction. Even Luzon is losing some of its attraction. But, we have a lot of American men that are marrying people from Mindanao. And when I was kind of looking for a girl to marry, I remember I had a girl from General Santos City I was corresponding to. And she was studying to be a nurse. She was always busy, busy, busy. I know that's one of the fishing capitals of the Philippines and of the world. Some great fishing down there. And she seemed to be a really nice girl. She was very pretty, very polite. She was just so busy. And her goal was really just to kind of get a visa as a nurse and get out of the Philippines. And she corresponded a little bit, but she was just so busy going back and forth. So I never really got a chance to know her really, really well. But she seemed really nice. But there was another girl, I think she was from Visaya. That was a girl had some financial trouble. Unfortunately, someone swindled her family out of some money, and she felt responsible. So I might have met her, and she seemed really nice. She was, maybe a couple hours outside a major city. I forget which one it was, but she seemed really, really nice. And then, of course, there was a girl out of Angeles City, which is, to me, you're pretty close to Manila. So to me, that's not really a province kind of area. But there was another girl, I forget her name. She was south of Manila somewhere, and she was more of a province kind of girl. And so, all the girls seemed really, really nice. I really couldn't, distinguish between them. I work with a lot of people from Ilocos Norte, which is the province up north, in Luzon, and they were all super nice. For them, it was really more important to meet the relatives than it was where the girl was from. But of course, each area sort of supports its own people. So of course, the Ilocanos, they say, "Oh, marry an Ilocano." The ones from Manila, marry Manila. The ones from Mindanao, marry ones from Mindanao or Davao. They're the best. They're the best. And that's the one thing I really like about the Philippines is they still love their country. They really love their local area, and they really promote it really, really well. And they're very big defenders and supporters of where they come from, not just the country, but also locally. I love my hometown. I love my hometown. And the girls are best there. You should go there. So, you'll get all kinds of different advice from different people about not just country or city girl, but what region to go to as well. Now, I never really, went down to Mindanao. I have no intention of going there. Some people love it there. I just don't feel safe or comfortable going down there. Cebu would be fine. I wouldn't mind going to Cebu, and I'm very interested in Cebu because I believe that's where the Spanish first landed. It has some great old cathedrals there that I would love to see. So I wouldn't have mind going to Cebu, but the girl that I met was from Manila, and that's where I went. And for me, like I said, there were certain things I was looking for. I wasn't really looking for, the city versus country kind of thing, but some people swear by it. And you'll hear even girls on YouTube say, the province girls are much more wholesome and hardworking and better. And I don't really think that's true. And then of course the city girl will say, we know what's going on. We're quicker, we're smarter, we're also prettier. So you got all different kinds of opinions going on. In the cities, you're going to find, I would say girls that maybe look more Spanish or more Chinese in the urban centers. That's if you go further out into the province areas, you might find people that look more Filipino or less influence from the Spanish or Chinese, depending. I mean, the Spanish went everywhere, but the Chinese tend to stay in the cities. That's what you see. You might find taller girls in the cities as well. I haven't done a scientific study on this, but I'm just saying, that's kind of, as far as looks or physical appearance. But I wasn't, I wanted someone who was at least 5 foot and above. I wasn't going to say no one below 5 foot, but I was looking for certain qualifications. I didn't care so much where in the Philippines they came from, although I kind of eliminated Mindanao, the province of Mindanao. And I really didn't see girls at that time. I think there's a lot more girls from the provinces, and that's because the internet is everywhere and cell phone technology. They don't need computers anymore. They can just go, just use their phones on Facebook or the app if they have a dating app. When I was doing it, you hadn't needed a computer. The phones just weren't going to do it. And so you needed an internet cafe that was fairly reliable. And that had to be they were everywhere at that time. But I think maybe some of the provinces, it wouldn't have been as good. And of course, the reach of the outside world, I don't think had gone into the provinces as much now. I think because of the advent of more of the cell phones, I think this idea of meeting a foreigner, of going abroad has really gone, sort of viral in the Philippines. It's gone everywhere. It's kind of a critical mass thing, where before it was only certain places and certain people looking. And I don't, and to me, they were, sort of the access to me was more of girls that may be college educated or gone to college. You sort of needed that knowledge and a little bit of money to get this thing going, to meet a foreigner. Now, because of Facebook and the phones, you don't really need to have that, familiarity with computers or have a little bit extra money. You need it for the phone, but that's kind of cheap here. And you can always get free Wi-Fi now. Before, there was no free Wi-Fi. So I think the provinces now have tapped into that, sort of idea of marrying a foreigner and moving abroad. And you see that, I think, I haven't looked, but I'm sure if you go into the listings now, you'll see a lot more province girls that are sort of putting themselves, have profiles online. So, like I said, like I was looking for specific sort of, qualifications. Like I said, I was looking for at least 5 foot. I wasn't going to exclude anybody below, but that's kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for someone that had a college degree. That's really what I wanted. These were not hard and fast rules for me, but that's something I thought would help us because, we'd have something in common, and also, the English would be easier to communicate. So that was kind of a thing that was important to me, was a college degree of some sort, and that they could, get a job when they got to the U.S. so we could, help our family get a house and a car and all that kind of stuff. It's not that college, non-college girls can't do that. I just thought that it would be better for that, and we'd have more in common. And so that's kind of what I was looking for. I was also looking for someone who had not been married before, which in the Philippines at the time was, many girls didn't have, husbands or boyfriends, or if they did, they didn't talk about it that much. Nowadays, there seems to be a lot more girls that have kids and stuff, and hey, that's fine. There's some older men that want to have kids but don't want to, go through the whole deal. So they're ready to adopt, if the girl has a kid or whatever. And I met a few guys like that, and that's perfectly fine. That's great. For me, I really didn't want to deal with that. I think, I was a teacher for a long time, and, dealing with outside parents and things of that, and past baggage, or I don't want to refer to people as past baggage, but you know what I mean. A lot of complications. And also a lot of friction can develop between the father and the mother and the sibling. It's just, I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I was looking for someone who was unattached, completely unattached, and had not been married before. I thought that would give us the best chance. And I had not been married before, and I didn't have any kids. So I thought that, that would be fair for both of us to do that. Like I said, the Ilocanos I worked with, they were, kind of pushing me to get a country girl, because that's where they're from. They're from up north. They're from the province. They really didn't trust the city. The cities looked as an evil place. And that's what, for much of American history, that's the cities are, and even in Europe, they're looked upon, well, not so much in Europe, but mainly in America, as more of an evil place where you go to and bad things happen to women and to men when they get, the city kind of overtakes them. But, they were telling me, oh, we can fix you up with a great province girl, and she's so pretty. But it never happened. I could have been married to a province girl, just never happened. One of the women, coworkers of mine, said, I have a beautiful niece or whatever, and she's a nurse. She's really pretty, blah, blah, blah. And then that coworker just kind of disappeared on me, And I met her a couple of years later, and she said that the girl didn't want to communicate. She goes, "Dad, the girl, stupid girl. You could have been married by now. We could have been relatives." But she was also trying to sell me her house at the time too. So maybe would have bought it if I was married to her. So I don't know. The girl was just too shy to put her profile out there, or not even to me. It just would have been a private email. So I have no idea. But you'll find a lot of Filipinas like that. We just met a Filipina, and she was in her 30s, and she's a city girl, and she's, very humble, and you can tell she's very honest. And we told her to go online. We said, go online, you'll meet somebody. She's in her 30s. And she basically said, no, well, she said she might try, but I could tell she was embarrassed or too shy to do it. And it was like, dude, and this girl is tall, she's like 5'10". She's a professional, very attractive. And I was like, man, you're so tall. She's like 5'10", 6 foot. And I was like, in great shape, a very attractive, beautiful smile. I was like, you can get married in 1 year. You look at me, I'm like, I was like, dude, you could do it. And she was like, really, really, really? And then she was talking to my wife, oh, I don't know. Because, many girls, whether they're province or city girls, they think when they're in their 30s that it's too late for them to get married. And then even men from outside the Philippines are not going to be interested in them. And, I tell, whether you're province or your city, it doesn't matter if you're in your 30s to an American, even if the American's in his 30s or 40s, it doesn't matter to them. And so, my message to all of them is to really, get their profiles out there, because, as you get older, you want to have some sort of relationship, whether you're province or city. But the one advantage I would say, maybe for a city girl, is that they may adjust better, or maybe not adjust better, right? So, where we were living at the time in Hawaii, that was like a province location. So I think a province girl, especially an Ilocano, who's, would have fit in, because there are lots of Ilocanos there, who would have, the transition would have been much easier. There are malls and stores, but it's not, like a city like Manila, a huge international city with sounds and everyone and movement. It's kind of a laid back area on Maui, or even Oahu, for that matter. We're not like on the big island of Hawaii. That's slow, Molokai. Maui, to me, is okay. So Oahu's a little better, but, they're not fast paced. And so when my wife came over, she was like kind of in culture shock a little bit. There were tons of Filipinos there, but she was kind of like, where's the action? What do we do? And my wife doesn't drink or anything like that. She just wants the stimulus of like the hustle and bustle and the movement. And so when she came to sort of a province area, and then we went to Arizona, and that's not even like Manila. When she got to New York and that area, we moved to the Northeast, she was much happier. But she's been the happiest since she moved back. She just likes to be in the city. But when she interviewed for a job in New York, she's like, can we move here? I want to move here. I want to be in the city. I was like, dude, I want to live in New York. You'll live in a shoebox. It'd be so small and it'd be so noisy. No, I love it. I love it. Hey, some people love it, But, so, a province girl, maybe, if I'd married her, would have been a smoother transition. But again, a province girl also would have been, good out in the country in the U.S. So these are kind of some things you might want to think about. I won't say they're hard and fast rules, but if you're kind of a farming guy, you want a province girl. Those girls, I saw some video of one of these province girls killing a Philippine cobra. She went out there and went bam, bam, bam. I was like, man, that girl's tough. If you're out there farming out in the U.S. or something like that, out in the wilderness, man, those province girls, man, they can take care of themselves. They're tough girls. They're pretty, but they're tough. So, they may make a better transition out to the country or someplace like that where there isn't a lot of activity. The city girl, from Manila, maybe even Cebu. Cebu's a little smaller, but, even Manila, they're going to do better in a suburban or urban area. But I'm going to tell you one thing, whether they're from the country or from the city, the one thing they're going to miss the most is their family. And and their friends. And in the South, in the U.S., we still have a lot of sort of close-knit communities. That would be kind of the closest maybe in the Philippines you can compare that to, or even in the U.S., to make some type of comparison. But let me tell you something. They're going to miss that. And they're going to miss going to the market. And they're going to miss, saying hello to their neighborhood friends. We don't really have those neighborhoods. When I was growing up, my grandmother lived in, a neighborhood outside New York. That would have been comfortable for them. That we don't have that too much anymore. Sure, maybe Boston, maybe Philly, I don't know. But a lot of American neighborhoods just aren't the same family neighborhoods we used to have. So, you're dealing with food, you're dealing with language. And that's the other thing, is that even though they might be college graduates or wherever they're from, the speed of the language is going to be tough for them, So, as far as I'm concerned, there are obvious differences between a province and city girl. And a province girl, is going to do better out in the country, maybe. Uh, maybe do better more in isolation away from things as opposed to a city girl. But both city and country girl are tough girls. I mean, the city girl will learn. I mean, they're, Manila's a city of survivors. I mean, these girls have to adjust. Now, if they come from middle class families or upper middle class families, it doesn't really matter if they're province or city. They're used to having maids and stuff like that. So that could be kind of a problem for you. And that's one thing. I mean, we had one girl from Manila that moved into Maui, and I think she had maids and everything like that. And for her, that was a move down because she had to do all the cooking and cleaning and everything like that. And she was a college graduate, real professional, but that's not something she had really banked on because that was sort of her lifestyle. So, don't think that province girls don't have money because there are people that have money out in the provinces. Maybe even, they might even have some more money because they have large landed estates and things, and maybe they didn't, they just don't take it for granted that, coming to the U.S. is a big upside. For them, they may think so. But once they get there and they're kind of in a small condo or a small house, they're going to be like, hey, what's going on here? I didn't sign up for this. So, want to be upfront with people. And you can, bring pictures of your hometown, of your house. And I would say that's important to say what kind of lifestyle are you going to live. When they hear U.S., they're like, sign me up, whether they're from the province or the city. But you have to, tell them, hey, this is not really a country environment. I live next to the city. Or, this is really not a city environment. You're going to have to learn to adjust. And they will. I mean, they will. They might not like it, but they will. Like I said, if you have a farm or something like that, a province girl would probably adapt better for that, or way out in the country. They're used to that kind of thing. Where the city girls used to, you have no idea how big the malls here in the Philippines are. And they're all over the place. There are more malls here than I ever had as a kid, growing up. I mean, and they're so big and 4 stories and all the everything. And so, people in the cities, and that's one of the reasons people from the province move to the cities. And so even though you might be meeting a girl in the city, she may be from the province and she moved to the city to make money or for the excitement. And so that is another kind of layer to this kind of idea. Who should I look for, a city or country girl? You get girls from the province moving into the city and, they want excitement too. That's why they move here. That's why Manila is just overflowing with people from Visayas. I don't know how much from Davao and from the south, but a lot from Visaya coming in, and they want to make their money. They want to get, make money, get a house and that kind of thing. But that's one of the reasons why Manila is so overcrowded is the population moving in because they want to see the malls. They want to see the movies. They want to be where the action is. They want a chance to make money, and you can't blame them. Can't blame them for that. The problem is it just overcrowds the city, and so maybe you have a lot of province girls that are becoming city girls. They may say they're from the province, but they move into the city, and so to me, you're just looking for that person, the good heart. And you'll find lots of women here, whether they're from the province or the city, that have a good heart. Now, people from the province maybe have never been on a plane. They haven't traveled a lot of places. My wife had never been on a plane or traveled anything too. But, they're not used to all the sights and the sound, the excitement, that kind of thing. So that will be kind of an adjustment factor for them. Maybe even going into on a highway or anything like that may be a huge adjustment for them as well. Whereas a girl from Cebu or Manila, they're kind of used to that. But the travel thing will also be new to all of them. A lot of them now some do. There are some professional women in Manila and Cebu that have money and they travel. And they might be in their 30s and 40s. They've been to Taiwan, they've been to Korea, they've been to Japan. So you might meet a girl that's been around, that's traveled a little bit. It's hard for them to get a visa to the U.S. And that's the one thing that's really sad, that you can't really, let them visit and see if they really like it. U.S. is not going to give them that visa unless they come from a very wealthy family and can prove they're going to go back. Usually that's not the case. Or if they have a really good job, or they own a property, they have relatives in the U.S. that are going to say, yeah, we'll kind of look after them, for the trip. You might be able to get that visa, but it's tough. It's really tough to do that. But in any event, those are, to me, kind of the benefits of, the province versus the city girl, the negatives and the positives, as you would put it. I don't think you can go wrong with either. In either case, you're going to deal with a transition period. I don't think necessarily one girl is better than another where they're from. I don't think that really makes a difference. The family structure is very strong here in the Philippines, whether it's the city or the province, and they raise great children, whether they're males or females. The girls are, to me, they're very intelligent. They're very smart, and they have a conscience. And I think that's one thing you'll meet in the Philippines are people, they really, they care. They have a conscience. They get embarrassed, meaning that they care about how they act, and they don't want to make a mistake. And whether that's a province or city girl, you're going to go into that in America, things that we don't necessarily think are that embarrassing are kind of embarrassing for them, especially when they're coming to a new place. And so you're going to have to help them, sort of with that transition. But as far as, looks, intelligence, colleges, I mean, of course, there are colleges in Manila, but I mean, there are some, there are very educated girls out in the provinces too. So I don't really think there's one better than another in my opinion. I think it really has to do with the family and the person themselves. And that's what I'd really focus on. Now, of course, it can be the situation they're in. Like I said, have they been? Well, they can't be married in the Philippines. I mean, they could have gone through an annulment, but most of them have. They really haven't lived with a guy, but maybe they have a child from a previous relationship, and we see that more and more. Sort of on the internet, and that's going to be your decision whether that's something you want to deal with or, grow with, or however you want to put it. And like we see a lot of American men saying, hey, it's not a problem for them because in American culture, there's a lot of women with children. They get remarried. And so for American men, or maybe older American men, it's really not that big of an issue. Now, as far as education, I mean, that's a kind of a personal preference. So that's, I don't think that has to do with the province or city. I prefer someone who's been to school. But, hey, there's some lovely women out there that haven't gone to school or maybe didn't have the money to go to school. And maybe you want to give them that chance and they're willing to go to school. They'll go. I mean, they'll go there and they'll do it because it's an opportunity for them. So they'll do it. So, all these things are kind of important. But as far as, to me, looks, as far as intelligence, morality, work ethic, and all that, I think the Philippines, I think they're pretty much the same, in the province or the city. I don't think it can go bad. It just depends, if you're going to meet a province girl, be prepared. You're going to have to go way, way out there in the country to meet that girl. If that's okay, that's fine. Or you can have her go into Manila or Cebu too, But you'll be in for an adventure to go into the province, to go out there and meet the family and see the homestead or wherever they live out there. And there's some beautiful land out here and some beautiful farms, and you'll have a chance to see that. Or if you choose a city girl, you'll be meeting them in the city. You'll see some great things in Manila or Cebu or General Santos City or Davao, and you'll see great changes that have come to the Philippines and great changes that have really changed the provinces and the cities. Some for the better, some for the worse, but what have you, there are great girls now from the provinces and the cities, but I would say more so than in the past, coming from the provinces that you'll see online. And I would just choose the one or meet the one that you think, and make a relationship that you think will work for you. All right. So have a great night. Well, it's a great morning in America and a great night in the Philippines. A big mabuhay. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.